Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan. We're talking off-season roster moves, roster shakeups. So after the draft, all these teams go about the macabre business of telling people that they're canned. It happens. You know, these teams, especially ones that have been making deep playoff runs the past few years, tend to have overloaded salaries, and they need to get under the cap figure. Well, the Rams are no stranger to salary cap problems. I wanted to make this video with quite a bit more specifics. Players that I think are just going to get cut absolutely for certain. But there really aren't many. Generally speaking, when you look at players that are likely to get the axe, you're looking for players that are the wrong side of 30. Players that are coming up on free agency anyway, very soon, like 2021 free agent players. You're looking for players for restructures where, you know, they've got a longer deal, they've played through a few years of that deal, and not all of it's guaranteed, so converting salary to bonus money averages things out to make it so that, you know, those numbers don't, hit the cap as hard. But the Rams are almost entirely devoid of all of those situations. Most of the players that are making the most money are young and have been signed recently. There's a few exceptions, but they've also been signed like this year. The older players, I just want to go through a few things that have been going on recently contract-wise for the Rams that make it more obvious. So currently, there's $16 million over the cap. We all know that they have Jalen Ramsey, who is one of the best corners in the league and still in his early 20s. So they are absolutely going to do everything they can to lock him up on a longer-term deal. But where the hell are they going to find the money? Okay? You just had to sign Andrew Whitworth to a 2-year deal. Whitworth is 38 years old. 38 years old. He's got the third highest cap hit on the team right now. And you just signed him to this multi-year deal. I think it's like a 3-year deal that Whitworth signed at 38 years old. Nuts. You needed to get his replacement in the draft. They didn't, and I think that's going to hit hard coming soon. But they've also given contracts out very recently to Blythe, Brockers, and Robinson, knowing that you've got this big Ramsey deal coming around the corner. It doesn't make sense to me, the money that they're handing out in guarantees, knowing what you have coming up. And this roster isn't exactly scaring people right now. You know, the Rams 2 years ago, when Todd Gurley was fan-frickin-tastic, and even 3 years ago, that's not the team that's out there right now. Okay, so, getting rid of Brandon Cooks helped some of that salary cap figure for sure. Drafting a guy who's going to take that place. But, there's just utter witchcraft that has to go on in the front office in order to make these numbers work. It's the reason that people like Todd Gurley and Clay Matthews are griping about not getting paid the money that they're owed. All right, Clay Matthews just filed a grievance with the NFL over, I want to say, $2 million in guaranteed money that he's still owed. Todd Gurley's still owed a good chunk of change that he just has, been the bigger person or something and decided not to file a grievance, but he's owed money too. And the only person that I can think of that they might be able to create some space with would be Robert Woods. And you definitely don't want to do that. Your receiving core is a strength with the drafting of Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp being there, and Robert Woods being there. Kupp gets hurt all the damn time. So you kind of want to have that solid, consistent play of Robert Woods, but he's going to be a free agent in 22, so you've got a couple of years left with him, but he makes like $6.8 million a year right now. There's not a hell of a lot that's obvious. They have to, again, perform absolute witchcraft with these contracts in order to make it work salary cap wise. I don't get why this is hashing out the way it is. It's largely because of the win now mode and all of the not so smart contracts that they dished out, just in the run up to the Super Bowl. It never looks good later on when you spent all that money and it didn't work. So you're really reeling from poor financial planning a couple of years ago. And if they don't get into deep runs in the playoffs soon, we could be seeing a shakeup in the front office, because the way that these contracts have been worked is really hamstringing the team going forward. So I'd like to know what you guys think. I'd like to know how you think they're going to make these numbers work to make it so they can extend a Jalen Ramsey and keep him in the fold. I want to know what you think about the job that the front office has done. With these contracts they're giving out, they've really dug themselves into a long-term hole. They've given away a lot of first-round draft picks, so they can't draft the replacements for these guys that they're going to have to let go, at least not immediate replacements. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Hit up the other videos I'm making, because there's obviously the Rams aren't the only team in this situation. So we're talking about a number of players on a number of teams that we're going through this time of year. It's not every team that has these issues, so there's probably only going to be 7 or 8 of these videos, but check them out. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm not as active there, but I do get around. And hit me up on Patreon. Most of my content is fantasy football based. So come fantasy season, if you need somebody helping setting your big board or your week-to-week lineup, I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, guys.